Hollywood is no stranger to shocking confessions, but few revelations have hit harder than the one involving Outlander's legendary duo, Heughan and Caitríona Balfe. After nearly a decade of carrying one of television's most iconic love stories, the pair who brought Jamie and Claire to life now find themselves at the center of an exposed truth, the kiss confession, that has sent Hollywood and the global fandom into a frenzy. For years, fans have speculated about the magic behind Sam and Caitríona's on-screen passion. Their kisses were not just believable, they were electric, charged with a chemistry that seemed impossible to fake. From their very first embrace in season 1 to the countless moments that followed, audiences believed they were watching something more than acting. But while the actors always downplayed the rumors, insisting it was simply professionalism, a recent admission cracked the carefully built facade wide open. The confession, whispered first in interviews and then amplified across social media, revealed that some of those on-screen kisses were not simply scripted movements. "Some kisses, you don't act. You just feel," Caitríona reportedly said during a candid discussion. The line was brief, almost offhand, but its impact was seismic. For the fandom, it was the confirmation they had been waiting for, proof that the sparks they'd long detected weren't entirely imagined. Sam, for his part, has also hinted at this truth in the past. In one interview, when asked how he and Caitríona managed to make their love scenes so believable, he smiled and said, "You can't fake that connection. We just trust each other completely." At the time, it sounded like diplomacy, the standard language of actors describing chemistry. But paired with Caitríona's more recent revelation, the meaning took on a different weight. Hollywood insiders immediately took notice. Intimacy on screen has always been a carefully guarded subject, choreographed, technical, structured down to the last breath. But Sam and Caitríona's admission shattered the illusion. It suggested that their kisses weren't simply mechanical performances, but moments where the line between art and reality blurred. Suddenly, the question wasn't whether Jamie and Claire's passion was real. It was how much of that passion belonged to Sam and Caitríona themselves. The timing of the confession couldn't have been more dramatic. With Outlander approaching its final chapters, both actors are stepping into new phases of their careers. The fandom, knowing that Jamie and Claire's love story is drawing to a close, is clinging more tightly than ever to the chemistry that defined it. To hear Caitríona admit that some of the passion was real only intensified the longing, the nostalgia, and the speculation. The kiss confession also exposed a deeper truth about the emotional cost of their work. For nearly 10 years, Sam and Caitríona have lived inside a story of extraordinary intimacy. Their characters endured heartbreak, separation, and reunion, always bound by love that transcended time. Bringing that to life meant surrendering themselves fully to the moment, to touch, to closeness, to passion. For Caitríona to admit that some kisses were felt rather than acted is to admit that those moments left an imprint, one that even the most professional actors couldn't brush aside. Of course, the fandom didn't hesitate to fill in the blanks. On Twitter, posts exploded. "We knew it. Those kisses were too real." Another wrote, "Caitríona finally admitted the truth. Sam and Caitríona weren't just acting." Theories abounded, with fans revisiting old episodes frame by frame, convinced they could now identify which kisses were scripted and which were real. But the confession wasn't about scandal or betrayal. It was about honesty. Caitríona's words revealed the vulnerability of actors asked to portray love so convincingly that it becomes indistinguishable from reality. It was about the power of passion and art, and the cost of living in that blurred space for nearly a decade. For Caitríona, the admission was both liberating and dangerous. Married to Tony McGill and fiercely protective of her private life, she knew the risks of speaking too candidly. Yet she chose to admit what fans already suspected, perhaps as a way of honoring the extraordinary partnership she shared with Sam. By acknowledging the sparks, she validated the story they built together, one of television's most unforgettable romances. The kiss confession wasn't just about a single moment or a single scene. It was about years of shared work, trust, and unspoken connection. And for Hollywood, it was a reminder of how rare and powerful true on-screen chemistry can be. For fans, it was proof that what they had witnessed wasn't an illusion, It was passion. Real enough to leave Caitríona Balfe speechless. And real enough to make the world believe in love all over again. The kiss confession did more than rattle Hollywood. It sent shockwaves through the Outlander fandom, creating a frenzy that few could have predicted. For nearly 10 years, fans had lived vicariously through Jamie and Claire's love story. They had argued endlessly about whether Heughan and Caitríona Balfe's on-screen chemistry hinted at something more off-screen. Now, with Caitríona openly admitting that, "Some kisses you don't act, you just feel," the debate reignited with explosive intensity. On Twitter and Instagram, reactions poured in. Some fans celebrated the revelation with joy, convinced it confirmed what they had always believed. "We were right all along," one user posted. "You could feel it in every kiss. This proves Sam and Caitríona weren't just acting." Others, however, were more cautious. "She's talking about acting at its highest level," another wrote. "Don't twist it into scandal. It's about connection, not romance." But nuance rarely survives in the age of social media. Tabloids seized the opportunity, plastering headlines across covers and websites. Caitríona's kiss confession exposed. Balfe admits passion with Heughan. Outlander stars finally reveal the truth behind their chemistry. These sensational takes drowned out Caitríona's careful framing. A subtle reflection on the vulnerability of acting was transformed into supposed proof of a hidden romance. For Caitríona, the fallout was particularly heavy. Married to Tony McGill and known for guarding her private life fiercely, she suddenly found her personal world thrust under the microscope again. Every appearance with her husband was scrutinized, every red carpet interaction with Sam reanalyzed. Some fans accused her of betraying her marriage, while others accused Tony of standing in the way of a destined relationship. It was exactly the kind of narrative Caitríona had fought to avoid, and yet her honesty had brought it roaring back. Sam wasn't spared either. Once again, he was cast as Jamie Fraser in the public imagination, unable to separate himself from the character who defined his career. For years, he had spoken about the burden of being seen as a romantic hero both on and off screen, of living under the shadow of Jamie's idealized love. Caitríona's confession, while not intended as scandal, reinforced that burden. Fans and media alike doubled down on the notion that the love between Jamie and Claire wasn't just fictional. Hollywood insiders watched the chaos unfold with a mixture of fascination and recognition. To them, the kiss confession underscored a long-standing truth about acting. When chemistry is real, it's nearly impossible to hide. What Sam and Caitríona achieved on Outlander was lightning in a bottle, a connection so authentic that it blurred the boundaries between story and self. But with authenticity comes a cost. The passion that made Jamie and Claire unforgettable also chained their actors to endless speculation, stripping away the protective barrier between performance and personal life. Behind the noise of tabloids and fandom wars lay the deeper emotional truth. Caitríona's confession was never about scandal. It was about acknowledging the sacrifices she and Sam made to tell a story so convincing. It was about admitting that passion can't always be manufactured, that sometimes it emerges uninvited, raw, and undeniable. For two actors who gave a decade of their lives to embodying one of fiction's greatest romances, it was almost inevitable that sparks would exist, not as betrayal, but as testament to their craft. Still, the confession forced both stars to confront the reality of their legacy. With Outlander nearing its final chapters, their careers are poised for new directions. Yet, no matter where they go, the kiss confession will follow them. Every future role, every public interaction, will be measured against the passion they once admitted to sharing. For fans, Jamie and Claire will live forever. For Sam and Caitríona, the question is whether they can ever escape them. In the end, the kiss confession didn't expose a secret romance or hidden affair. It exposed the fragility of being human in an industry that demands perfection. It revealed how deeply passion can seep into the work of two actors who trusted each other completely. And it reminded the world why Jamie and Claire's love story felt so achingly real. Because, in fleeting moments, it was. Hollywood may have erupted, fans may be divided, and tabloids may spin their endless tales. But beneath it all, Caitríona's words linger. Some kisses, you don't act. You Just Feel, a confession not of scandal, but of truth. One that will forever define the legacy of Heughan and Caitríona Balfe.